Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the HomeTech Podcast. Jason Griffin, so happy to have you with us. I am joined as always by my partner Seth Johnson. Seth, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
I am doing well. I want to, listeners will probably recognize right away the audio quality is a little bit different. I'm in a different environment here than I'm typically recording in. I am actually in Boston, enjoying some time with the One Vision team, and I've got my colleague Joey Kolchinsky sitting here next to me. Joey, how's it going?
It's going awesome. Great. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, of course. We're excited to have you. I'm out here, Seth, as you know, sort of double duty, right? Traveling on the East Coast and enjoying a little bit of time for Thanksgiving with my in-laws, with my wife's family, and I always take advantage of that time on the East Coast to hop on a train and come up here to Boston and get a little bit of FaceTime with the One Vision team. So we thought it'd be a little bit of fun to do something a little different and have Joey on. Joey's not going to be joining us in any sort of typical capacity as a guest, right? We're not here to do an interview, but Joey's gonna join us for some conversation about a handful of news stories here. And we're going to talk about Black Friday as promised and a little bit of the holiday planning that's going on around the smart home. And we've got, like I said, a handful of news stories we're going to touch on as well. A couple of housekeeping items we want to touch on, but before we get into that, I want to give Joey here an opportunity to quickly introduce himself. I don't want to assume that everybody listening knows Joey. I think a lot of our listeners do. We've had him on the show a couple of times, and I, of course, mention One Vision frequently. But Joey, why don't you take a second here and just introduce yourself, maybe talk about a little bit of your industry background for the benefit of our listeners who aren't familiar.
Sure. With industry background, I mean, for me, that goes back 15-something years. My first client hired me to rip CDs to MP3s. And I got paid a few dollars more every hour than Starbucks, so it was a good gig. But the only way to do that profitably, I might add, is if you're living with your parents. So just be careful with that one. No, we here at One Vision are in. We have a platform for managing service for integrators and are in the everyday business of running and managing service teams on behalf of our partners. We call our integrator customers partners. And Jason and I started working together maybe a year and a half ago with writing, and then you came on board with the team. And as the only two former integrators in this entire company, I think that the team looks at us as if we're a little crazy when we just talk about how excited we are for what the company is doing for service in this space and how we are solving such a massive problem. And, we see the little wins when we get these massive smiles from our partners over a video chat, and we see how happy they are over the holidays and they're not getting, affected, and their clients are happily paying for recurring revenue and signing up, and you see these light bulb moments, and it's deeply satisfying for us as former integrators, because we were there in the trenches, having all of these problems, and now sort of see them getting solved. The team's handling about 1,500 service events a month right now, so easily the largest service team in the country. And probably the craziest, because with Thanksgiving around the corner, I think we are the only ones super excited about doing all of this service over Thanksgiving and getting the spike and knowing that we're protecting our partners and probably actually signing up a whole bunch of recurring revenue for those clients who want premium service. So it's exciting. It's an exciting time to be here at One Vision.
Yeah. As an integrator, like a holiday, like right up to Thanksgiving was always the busiest time, right? Even now, like I still have a couple of clients that I'm pretty close with still, and they're like, hey, my amp doesn't work. Is there any way you can get this working before Thanksgiving? I'm like, yeah, I can come over and fix it. So I imagine it's pretty busy for you guys right now.
Yeah. What's really interesting is we saw a spike in new partners come on board because they really wanted to get started before the holidays. We didn't quite anticipate that at all. But it was awesome to be a part of it when we started to hear that integrators said, well, if I sign up, when do I have to sign up by in order to make sure that I don't have to deal with service over Christmas? So we had this surge of interest. And we're also toying with it on the marketing side. We're sending out these email campaigns now to our partners' clients, using the fact that the holidays are around the corner to get their interest in signing up for premium memberships. We call service plans memberships in order to guarantee priority service, faster service, so that their holidays are as uninterrupted as possible in case anything does come up. So it's neat. Holidays represent all sorts of opportunity for us. But like I said, we're crazy. We surges and spikes in service are wonderful things for us.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. I actually went just a couple of weeks ago and appeared on Resi Week, which is a great show. I think listeners of our podcast would really enjoy if you've never checked it out. The folks over at AV Nation put that together. And one of the questions that came up, which often comes up in home technology circles this time of year, is, with the holidays coming, is there really opportunity here, or is this just a season of special deals on TVs and gadgets, and really the integrator just sort of having to deal with the service and emergency requests, and where is the opportunity for integrators? And I do think that it really is a chance to step up and help with that user experience. And like you alluded to, I think it gives some really organic and natural touch points to home technology professionals to re-engage with clients who might otherwise be pretty dormant, and remind them that you're there for them. You're their sort of technology advocate, technology manager, is a term we like to use a lot around here. And I think the holidays really present some great opportunities to engage on that front and really position those sort of premium services. And even if that's not your thing and you're just looking for an opportunity to re-engage and maybe look for project upgrades or whatever it is, just take advantage of that opportunity to reach out and say hi and remind them that you're still there, and see how you can be of assistance. So we're going to talk a little bit, shortly here about some of that holiday stuff and what the three of us are kind of looking forward to for the holidays, and putting any sort of personal budgetary constraints aside, what would you buy? What some of these specials would you take advantage of if you could take advantage of any of them? Because there's of course some really great ones out there.
Wait, there was no budget? I would buy that $300 million plane we talked about last week.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that's a fair point, Seth. That's a good point. So anyways, we do want to touch on a couple of news stories. Seth, before we do that, I want to give a quick thanks. Actually had 3 patrons come on board this week at the $5 level. So 'tis the season, I guess. People feeling generous, and we really appreciate it. Matt Wallen, who incidentally came on, I know Matt very well, and he came on recently at the $5 level. Jim Schultz and Joe Albion all came on at $5. So if you're interested and not familiar with our Patreon program, that is a way you can support our efforts here at the Home Tech Podcast. You can do that for as little as $1 a month. We've got a bunch of people who have come on board and done that, and we really appreciate it. So head on over to HomeTech.fm/support if you're interested in learning more. Once again, that's HomeTech.fm/support.
Right. And aside from those 3 guys that came on at the $5 level, we did have a couple come on at the $1 level. So any support you give does definitely help, goes directly to making the show better each week. So I want to also say thank you very much to each and every one of our patrons. Thanks very much. And Jason, let's talk a little bit about the news this week. A couple of big stories happened. First, I think this is kind of flying under the radar because it was sent out through an email, but Ecobee, the wireless thermostat company, has announced a new product. Sort of. They sent out this email to people, I guess, who just own an Ecobee about signing up for a beta program for their Ecobee Switch product. And this is a smart switch. I think we talked about a rumor of this a couple of months back, maybe mid-year sometime. But this is a smart switch that is like a dimmer that sits in your wall, and it also has a speaker on it. And guess what? Amazon Alexa built in.
That's right. I do remember talking about this now. I was pulling up a story as you were introducing it, and I love it. I think it's such a it's a unique application. I know that Amazon's one of their big things with Alexa is Alexa Anywhere, and that's going to give you a lot of beeps to do in post-production, Seth. Yep. So you'll enjoy that one, I'm sure. But I think they've done a great job of making that platform really extensible and just getting it out there to manufacturers in a way that they can implement it in a lot of different form factors. And this one's a pretty unique one. I love it. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I like how it fits in like a decor style. Looks really nice. A couple of things that they give on there at the bottom of the email, kind of like ideas of what you would use this for, maybe like starting a timer, maybe turning on and off the lights. I mean, this is something that you can kind of do now with other third-party gear, but this would be like a speaker and everything built directly into the switch, right? So you just be yelling at your wall now to have the lights turn on and off. That's kind of cool.
Totally separate from the technology. I find it really interesting that these mainstream companies, like notice, they're not gearing up for some big announcement, big launch. They totally gave away like the product that they're doing. They made it public, and they're just doing it to a minimal number of users, and they're not using Kickstarter, right? Like you're just sort of seeing a different way now of distributing this stuff, and I think that's kind of interesting, right? It's just going away from the Apple mindset of has to be some big launch, big announcement, but also not taking advantage of the Kickstarter platform and just doing it through their own ecosystem.
Yeah, it's a great point. You don't, it's one of those points. It's not immediately obvious on the surface, but it is interesting, Joey. That's a great point because, the tendency for companies always in the past try to come out, make a big splash, really have things look super polished on the front end, and you sort of had to know as a buyer of one of these products that if you were buying it right out of the gate, there may be a little bit of that sort of beta user experience built into it, and I do think it's interesting to see them come right out and say, hey, we've got this sort of pilot program, and they're putting it out there, and they say their call to action button there at the bottom of the email is test flight pass, please. So they're very much advertising this as a test flight, and I'll be curious to know if anybody listening is going to take them up on that opportunity. Definitely, we'd love to hear about it. At HomeTech Podcast on Twitter would be a great way to let us know.
Yep, absolutely. Moving on, some sad news to round out here the year. I was crushed.
Sad news, Seth.
The Apple HomePod has been pushed back. No longer will we see the Apple HomePod pushed out in December here. But now we're going to see it pushed back sometime in probably the beginning of next year. Probably, I would say if they're not going to do it, I mean, they haven't done it now. It's not a holiday. It's not a holiday product. They haven't announced the product at this point. It's not shipping. People aren't going to be buying it for holidays. So I think it'll probably get pushed back to I think they have a spring event where they do the iPads and everything. That's probably where we'll see it pop up. But too bad. But I haven't. They're saying that the HomePod wasn't ready, and I can kind of believe it. I'm really struggling to find very much to talk about on this because the HomePod, I've been saying this for months. We don't know what it does. Like we saw a little demo of a speaker that sounds nice. Wait, we didn't see a demo. Nobody saw a demo. There were a couple press people that are very close with Apple that went in and said, "Oh yeah, this thing sounds better than an Amazon Echo. Great." But no one has really put hands onto this thing. So no one really knows what this is going to do. Nobody knows what the secret sauce that Apple is going to put in to make us actually want to spend extra money on this thing is. And I think once we have that compelling story, like once we have the software done, looked like the hardware was done, but once the software is done and it has that, Apple magic touch put on, I think it'll be a pretty compelling product. But it looks like they weren't going to get ready for the end of the year here, and or weren't going to be ready with the software, and now it's going to be pushed out probably until spring sometime.
Yeah, I guess they decided they hadn't strung us along for long enough yet here on the
no Siri in a can.
God, it just feels like forever. There's an interesting story we'll link to in the show notes, HomeTech.fm/188. And it's a 9to5 Mac story, but it looks like Bloomberg here did the original reporting. And, the lead here is a new report claims that the HomePod project had an extremely messy history. It's said to have had changing objectives and been canceled and revived several times over a 5-year period. Also reports that the team is said to have been, quote, blindsided by the launch of Amazon Echo. So really interesting. I mean, not super surprising given the amount of time we've spent sort of speculating about when Apple would come out with a competitive product, but is interesting that they were blindsided supposedly by Amazon Echo. We talk about it all the time, and Echo was really the first mover, and I think still riding on that first mover advantage in the intelligent speaker market, with obviously Google Home catching up and having their own set of unique benefits. But Apple's really got to get their game together here and get something to market. Otherwise, it's just going to continue to be an uphill climb for them.
Well, I was reading this report earlier, and one of the most interesting facts I found was that the original speaker, which, by the way, was designed with their sort of 20% rule, where their team is allowed to use like 20% of their time. Their Apple version of that Google rule, where their team can spend their spare time building stuff. That's how this product was built, apparently, with their audio people just saying, we want to build a high quality speaker. And the first version of this thing was 3 feet tall. So, and then they... It's
like a didgeridoo or something? What's like, crazy. I can't imagine.
And Amazon came out with the Echo. They all sort of gave each other crap for apparently leaking to Amazon that they were doing this. Then they went all and bought the Echo, took it apart, and realized, it's still bad audio, and went back to building their speaker.
But maybe 3 feet tall is excessive.
Yes. So
funny. That's really funny. Well, we'll see. We've been waiting this long. I guess what's a few more months, but you got to imagine there are some disappointed folks over at Apple for not getting this out for the holiday season. But pretty big company. I think they'll be okay.
You know who's not disappointed?
Who's that?
Sonos. Can you imagine the party that they're having right now?
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, that's a good point. That is a good point. Well, one other news story here I wanted to touch on. This one struck home for me as people listening know, big football fan, NFL guy. And this is just timely in all of the worst possible ways. Dish Network customers will no longer get CBS. This, according to a report from Engadget. If you're looking forward to watching the NFL this Thanksgiving, you might find yourself stuck watching holiday reruns instead. CBS is making good on its threat to black out dozens of channels in response to its ongoing subscription feud with Dish. According to Dish, the network last night barred customer access to 28 local channels in 18 markets across 26 states. So that's going to result in some very disappointed football fans come Turkey Day.
Well, I didn't even think about that. Imagine that. But yeah, I didn't even think about not being able to watch.
Timing is not a coincidence, right? I mean, that feels like CBS really just putting the screws to Dish Network. And I admittedly I don't know all the backstory to this I guess supposedly ongoing feud. I have to admit I haven't followed that or really known that was a sort of a brewing thing, but says they've been locked horns over the fees CBS wants from Dish for retransmission of its content. And of all the networks, CBS I believe is the kind of the big dog right now. They're a powerhouse, and for a company like Dish, who presumably everybody in that traditional pay TV space is sort of struggling right now. And Seth, we spend a lot of time on the show talking about the evolving TV market and how all of these pay TV companies are just hemorrhaging subscribers, and this is just terrible news for them. I think also, by the way, something that service providers, integrators should probably be aware of. I don't know if the channel is just going to be black when you go to turn it on, or what's going to happen. But totally. I have to imagine that as an integrator, this is something you'd be behooved to be aware of, because that phone could ring on Thanksgiving and, hey, what's going on with my CBS? I'm trying to watch the big game. And so this is probably something to keep front of mind with your sort of service and support team.
I'm slacking our entire service team right now about this. And bam, that is 25,000 homes around the country getting better support right now.
Yeah.
That's wild. Yeah. Good point. I didn't even really think about that either. CBS is one of the local channels in the area, so you may also have the option of doing receiving the over-the-air broadcast.
Great point.
And getting it that way rather than going through the Dish Network service. A little bit more of a pain, but at least you won't be without football as the the turkey is kicking in and you're falling asleep. So make note of that and run out and grab a digital antenna.
Go grab your antenna now.
Yeah,
exactly.
You probably antennas are fairly cheap these days. You can probably get away with just having one in a closet somewhere and pull it out when you need it.
That's high def now. You actually get a very good picture with that these days. So it's probably not a bad idea to have one around anyways.
Yeah, and there's this new ATSC 3.0 thing that's been finalized finally by the FCC. It's kind of an optional thing for broadcasters. So who says your local station's gonna actually go out and upgrade their gear? But they might for this, because this is going to allow them to do 4K broadcasting. There's like a two-way component built into it. So there's some they say, they can have interactive educational content for children. So there's like feedback that can come back and forth between the television set and the broadcasting station. You can actually localize and actually turn on the TV. So if there's like an emergency broadcast that needs to go out to a certain neighborhood, they can geolocate that and shoot out the message exactly where it's supposed to be. There's all sorts of better things, including HDR. I think HDR 4K is probably going to be the biggest thing for this. But keep in mind, this is optional. You'll have to probably buy a new TV with a new ATSC 3.0 tuner built into it. But again, you're going to be waiting for somebody to spend a lot more money at the local station to upgrade their system to the ATSC gear. So it might not come. It may be something that comes later rather than sooner for you.
So am I understanding that correctly, Seth? Did you say that they can turn on your TV over the air?
Yeah. So if there's an emergency alert, the broadcasters can shoot out that signal, and wake up the TV. It'll turn the TV on and you'll be
1984 to me. Brother,
well,
coming through the TV to let you know. That's crazy.
So speaking of, actually, just sorry if we're not. I might be totally bailing on this topic. Are you guys still going down that topic?
Yeah, just the only other thing I wanted to say about this new ATSC 3.0 is that I was reading a little bit about this, and some of the commentary I saw is like, can we just get 1080p first? It's 1080i right now for most stuff, and so it feels a little bit like I kind of roll my eyes a little bit when I hear these conversations about 8K TVs, and you hear all these people talking about, 4K, we're going to go to 8K soon, and it's like we really haven't even figured out 4K yet. And there's still so many issues with ecosystem compatibility and just getting it right to where it works reliably for people. And so I think in principle it's great. In theory, I should say it's great to have 4K coming over the air, but it'll really come down to the implementation, like all of these things, and hopefully it can be done in a way that doesn't cause too many problems for people. And like you said, Seth, this is going to be one of those, just like any new video standard, this will be that sort of slow rollout where there are a lot of things that sort of have to line up in order for it to work. You've got to have the right TV. The content has to be broadcast in the correct format, and et cetera. So it's not just as if a switch gets flipped and there you go, right?
Yeah, exactly. All the planets need to be in alignment, and you have to look at your TV through the fish tank to make sure you see the second vertical plane. Yeah, it's always a mess when this stuff happens, right? Like there's always something you have to do. Stand on one foot and rub your belly, pat your head, and 4K will work. And I can't imagine what we're gonna have to do in 8K and whatever the next thing is. 16K probably, the way things are going. Show up. Who knows what we'll end up doing with that.
I mean, you guys mentioned 1984, and it made me think that today FCC came out and said that they're going to repeal net neutrality.
Yep.
Which is insane, I think. Not all.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, so, and just think about all the lobbying that went into that for the telecoms, right? But that means that now we hypothetically could pay more for our internet bills if we happen to be streaming a lot for Netflix or whatnot. And you talk about how like subscription TV is sort of cable TV is sort of going down the tubes. This is their way out, right?
Yeah.
Because now they can basically charge you more if they know you're streaming Netflix and Hulu and all those things.
Wow.
Yep. So. The only thing that can change at this point in time is legislatively they'll have to pass something. Right. that fixes the problem of letting the FCC kind of bounce back and forth between their positions after administration changes. So if you're concerned about net neutrality, reach out to your representative and tell them what you think. Yay or nay. I personally, I'm with you, Joey. Like this is a bad thing. The internet, you pay your bill $80 a month or whatever it is, for the internet, the whole internet, not part of the internet. So, that's how the system was set up from the beginning. And it has definitely let small players become very large players, and by democratization of like this technology that we have. So I really would like to see that continue. And I know it has its ups and downs depending on, your perspective, but I definitely do think that this is one of those things that the internet, after they repeal this, will not be the same for any consumer in America here.
Yeah, it's one of those topics, Seth, that we've talked about a little bit. We haven't spent a ton of time. I know it's unfortunately, for better or worse, it's kind of it can be a little bit of a politically charged issue. I'm with both of you. I think it's a bad deal. I think the internet should just be the internet, and you just you buy the pipe into your house, and whatever you want to run through that pipe, it shouldn't affect your price. And so I have to admit I missed that story, but I will definitely have to dive in and take a look at that. And it's been an ongoing saga, and there's a lot of moving parts to it. But definitely, like you said, reach out to your representative, or just sit back and I'm sure Trump will take care of it, right?
Yeah, you'll get a bigger bill. Is what'll end up happening is you'll get, like Joey was saying, you'll end up paying more.
Yeah.
On top of your Netflix and cable bill, you'll end up paying more just to stream Netflix better or something like that. They'll figure out a way to make money off of this.
Well, let's switch to a more fun topic, a lighter topic here, and we'll wind down the show with this. And this will be a little bit a free form here. We've got a number of sort of deals and things, Seth, that you and I pulled out throughout the week, and we may or may not get to all of these here. We'll certainly include links to all of them in the show notes, once again, at HomeTech.fm/188. So we went through and sort of scoured the internet a little bit and pulled out some deals and some, I would call them more general resources, right, where you can go take a look. I think, for example, one of the ones I wanted to steer people towards that I found and thought was really well done is the Engadget gift guide, just a very nice website where you can apply filters and sort of see all these things in one place. And so, as always, there's a ton of stuff out there. I think a lot of really good deals. A lot of these things are technologies that we frankly don't spend a ton of time talking about on the show. We're more automation and control and smart home, but of course this time of year you see a lot of deals on TVs and home theater stuff, and by no surprise there's some cool stuff going on there. But we're entering that time of year, which is so cliched to say, but I'm going to say it anyways. It's hard to believe. Time really does fly, and here we are again. So start off with one set just to sort of tee it up. We got to start somewhere here. You mentioned the team at Sonos probably jumping up and down over the news about the Apple HomePod pushing out past the holidays, and it looks as though the Sonos One is already going on sale. So that'll be $175 on Black Friday. That looks like a $25 off of the normal price. And the Sonos One, of course, if you're not familiar, is the new speaker they came out with fairly recently that's got integrated smart assistant. So Alexa for now, Google Assistant being promised soon. This story here from The Verge says 2018. And so it's, right now the big story about that is it's their product with Alexa integrated right in, and $25 off. So not a bad deal. That's a fairly substantial discount if you look at the, percentage wise of the overall price. And if you're looking to get into Sonos and want that Alexa integration, looks like a very cool product.
Yep. It looks like a good one to me. I've been really happy with my Sonos over the years. And from what I've seen, the reviews coming back on the Sonos One are fairly good. Like I haven't really seen very much complaints about it, other than kind of general Amazon Echo complaints, the same complaints you'd see happening with an Amazon device. So for the most part, I think that's a pretty good buy for $175. I mean, that's a really good buy, actually. I may go grab one of those for my desk here, because I need some sound for my desk, when I work, and that would be great, because I could sit there and say, yell at it and tell it to do things too. So, sounds pretty good.
Yeah, there's some other deals here. Again, reading from The Verge, a handful of other deals on Sonos. It looks like the Sonos Playbase, $599, which is down $100 discount. Play One looks like they're discounting by $50. Play Bar discounting by $100, and Play 3 they're discounting by, looks like, $50. So I'm limiting the amount of numbers I'm going to throw out there, because I know we're a podcast here and I don't want to just drown you in numbers. But point being, quite a few discounts Sonos is offering for the holiday season, and again, no surprise there. I think it's a great product for the holidays, and I'm sure they'll do very well with that. This next one I had on the list here, I'm going to throw over to Joey. I know, Joey, you're an August owner.
Fanatic.
Yeah, you're an August evangelist,
totally,
I would say, and I know I've had numerous conversations with you about it. Looks like they've got a deal going on, $30 off. Tell us what you think.
Yeah, we at our house, we have August lock, August doorbell, August keypad. Our favorite month is August. We are just all in on August. No, I mean, and I even got I upgraded the lock recently just to experiment with HomeKit, and that's been a home run. When I say home run on these things, I actually just think they're just incredibly reliable. And in fact, we just moved from one apartment to another, and it sat in a box for probably 2 months before I finally got around to reinstalling these things, and they just fired right up, and everything was just working flawlessly. So I'm a big fan of August. Yeah, I think you mentioned they've got this $30 off on their Smartlock Pro Plus their Connect, allowing the lock to connect via Wi-Fi.
Yeah. So it looks like August Smartlock Pro and Connect $30 off. So that's regularly $279, and it looks like you can pick that up for $249. And if you ask Joey, that's a screaming deal.
That's a big deal, totally. And we so this totally came in handy for us the other day. We just installed the lock, and then 3 hours later, we have a newborn at home. So my wife ran out of the house, with baby on her mind, and left the door wide open. And so we went out for the next 10 hours, and our front door was wide open with just a storm door sort of in front of it. And without the lock, my wife would have made me, check every corner of the house just in case. But with that camera, I just quickly pulled it up and said, nope, first of all, it was you who left the door unlocked, not me. And then secondly, no one's in our house. We're good.
Funny. Well, yeah, that's a good deal. I know August was recently acquired, and I know Seth and I talked about that on the show, and really hope that it, that they just continue on their course, and that we don't see any dip in their sort of development or the quality of their product. Joey, you're not the first person to tell me that it's a really great product. And so we hope that the acquisition is nothing more than a little bit of consolidation, and that they continue on the path that they're going.
Fueling their development.
Yep.
Right? Hopefully that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, there's a ton. I don't think we need to go into all of the ultimate, like all of the OLED and Ultra 4K HD smart TV deals that are out there. But I know that we have a story here about LG's OLEDs. Like they've pre-announced some deals that'll let you kind of skip the madness that is Black Friday. I think everybody's doing this, right? Like I was in a store the other day and things were 70% off, and this was last week. They were already doing the Black Friday a little bit early. So I think it's just going to be a month or two of just audio, video, and clothing sales that we're going to run up into, and just kind of expect to have around the month of November, leading into December. So definitely OLEDs and the new Samsung Ultra 4Ks. Check those out. There are some really good deals out there right now. 55-inch B7A 4K OLED from LG. That is a lot of numbers, and my eyes glazed over reading that. But it's just $1,500. So that's a pretty awesome price for a OLED of any size, I think.
It is, and the actually researched the B7A about, I don't know, maybe about a year ago. It was just towards the end of my time as an integrator, sort of one of the last jobs I was doing before coming on board here with OneVision, and is widely regarded as a very, very good, like, bang for your buck, if there is such a thing with OLED, which I think we're thankfully now finally getting to the point where there are such a thing as that bang for your buck OLED. Prices are really steadily coming down over the last couple of years, and $1,500 for a 55-inch TV, of course, is still nothing to sneeze at when you can go out and probably buy a TCL or something for a third that price. Of course, that's not going to be an OLED. But point being, this is a great TV. LG is widely regarded as producing a phenomenal display, and I love OLED. Every time I go to a big trade show like CEDIA, or had the opportunity to go out to Atsc in Amsterdam last winter, and I come away from looking at these TVs just impressed every time. I think the picture quality is really something to see if you haven't had the opportunity to witness one. Even if you got to go see it on a sort of Best Buy type of environment with fluorescent lighting and stuff, you'll still get that sense. But if you get a chance to go see it at a Magnolia or something where the light's down and you can really see it in a more natural environment like you would typically have on a movie night or something, it's worth going to take a look at. It does say here the 65-inch B7A is $2,300, which is also a pretty good deal. Joey, I don't know how much of an opportunity you really had to go take a look at OLED.
I haven't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, well, check this out. I was on Amazon site looking at 55-inch Samsung. I added to my cart, and then I left and came back, and now it's up $300. So it was like $550 for a 55-inch 4K TV. Now I must have messed up the deal, and it says $897. So,
well, I was going to say, like, moving away from OLED, just the fact that we can get a 65-inch TV for hundreds of dollars now.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
No kidding.
Yeah, it is crazy. And, the prices, the way they move this time of year, it's kind of, you feel like you're trying to time the purchase of like a volatile stock or something, right? I mean, the prices are all over the place. We'll link to a story on Wired that has a number of TV deals for Black Friday. Again, we're not going to like jump into all these, but it just runs the gamut. Right here, TCL 55-inch for $400, and then you've got some various, 49-inch LG for $300. So,
by the way, so when did we start having 49-inch TVs?
Yeah, well, that's a very good question. Kind of an odd size, but in any event, great time of year to buy a TV. Obviously, I'd say this time of year, and then of course, getting a little bit closer to Christmas and CES, you start to just see some really cool stuff. So, always something worth keeping an eye on.
Yep, I remember selling these things for like 42-inch TVs for like $20,000. I mean, they were just ridiculously priced. Now it just kind of blows your mind to see a really good quality TV, like that Samsung I was looking at. That's a 4K TV. I mean, that's $500 or $600 for a decent 55-inch TV. Can't beat that. So good to see.
Anyone out there selling service plans or memberships, you should totally send an email campaign offering Black Friday or Cyber Monday deals on your service plans. All this talk of this topic, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to have my team working on this tomorrow or Friday to send this out.
Joey's feverishly taking notes over here.
Absolutely.
Again, it's down to that organic touch point, right? I really do believe a lot of times the toughest thing about sort of framing an email or putting any sort of marketing or sales email out there is finding that, what are the first two sentences, right? Like, why are you reaching out? How do you introduce that email? And, Black Friday gives you an opportunity to do that. Once again, whether you're looking to sell those premium services or if you're in the business of selling TVs or you want to try to sell, whatever it is, new projects, like it is, to your point, a great opportunity to just reach out and engage.
Yep, absolutely. Moving on, we talked a little bit about the Ecobee switch earlier. just kind of bounce off this one real quick. Ecobee 4, that's the one with the Amazon built into it. And I think they have Google Assistant as well. That is now $50 off. So I think those are $300. It's maybe $250 now. There's also a number of Amazon Echo discounts. Like if you go on to Amazon's website, if you're in the market for an Amazon Echo of any size, check out what they're doing over there. You can typically you can buy one, but if you buy like 3, you get a decent discount on them. And now I think for Black Friday, they've kind of stepped that up a little bit more. So I think I saw one of them like you could save $100 on if you bought 2 of them or something like that. So go check that out over at Amazon. Some pretty good deals there.
Yeah, definitely. Story from 9to5toys.com here. That's just sort of a general one. Again, we'll include this up in the show notes. Best of Black Friday 2017. This was put out about a week ago, so there may be other things, of course, that have developed since then. But some of the just broad categories they're talking about. Amazon Echo for $80, I believe that is the $30 for the Echo Dot. If you've been eyeing the Echo Plus, you'll be able to pick that up for a $30 discount, so $120. And then the second generation Amazon Echo at $80. So anywhere between $30, $80, $120 you can get in the door now for an Amazon Echo, which is of course a great price, a super low point of entry. I think that's it's such a great product, and I'll say this safely because I know my parents don't listen to the show, but it is what we're planning to get for my parents for the holidays, and they are your typical, their parents. They're not super techy, but they're not totally tech averse. But we had them at my house a couple of months ago, and we've got an Echo there, and they just loved it, right? And I think it is such a great product for that reason. It's like a gateway drug, an entry point into the smart home, and those simple things like just being able to queue up music with your voice. Someone like my mom looked at that and was like, that is so cool. Like, I want that for my house. And I think it's just been, it's been long overdue in the smart home that we had that sort of a product category that just got people really excited again. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I'm looking through this article. It's mentioning a couple of retail stores. Retail stores are going all out on this year. So be sure to swing by maybe Costco or Best Buy, even early before Black Friday. They've got some really good deals. I know that Costco had some really good deals on Arlo cameras, like a little starter pack. If you're interested in that, they usually have a really good deal as well on some like Ring devices, where you can pick up some free like chime modules, which are really nice on the Ring doorbells. So check those out. You kind of have to physically go to a place rather than just ordering it off Amazon. But at least you can pick up, maybe not discounted, but you pick up some maybe extra gear, especially at Costco, where they do kind of like, they have to have those bundle deals where they give something away that's usually, between $30 and $50, I think, along with the product. So some pretty good stuff out in brick and mortar stores this year too.
Yeah. I think they're doing what they have to do to compete. It's definitely a tough environment for retail these days, just across the board, and it's I suppose to the benefit of consumers, right? They're really having to step up and really offer some great deals. One of these on here, Seth, I know we wanted to touch on is Philips Hue, and there's a segue this is going to lead into that you're going to talk about another system I believe you had pulled up that I don't think I was familiar with, but you were saying looked fairly compelling. But on the Philips Hue front, it does look like Home Depot 4-pack of the color bulbs and the HomeKit enabled hub for $160, and that's down from $200. So that's again, if you're looking at the overall percentage of the price, that's a significant discount. Best Buy also getting in on the savings here, a 4-pack of dimmable white bulbs for $60. So that's a very good deal as well. And, so Philips Hue, right, getting in on that. And I think the smart lighting, and we talked about August, but we didn't really talk about video doorbells specifically. I saw some reporting this year, I think from, I want to say it was Parks or one of the big research companies that really was anticipating some very, very big sales in the smart doorbell market. And incidentally, hanging out at my in-laws' place the other day and heard some family friends over there talking about the holidays and talking about a smart doorbell, and that was something they had on their list. And I saw that story afterwards, so I expect that to be a really popular category this year as well.
Yep, and I think the lighting system that I was talking about when we were talking about the Philips Hue is this little thing called NanoLeaf. Now, I don't know what their Black Friday sale is going to be. They want you to sign up and opt in for their email marketing, I guess, before they tell you what their Black Friday deal is going to be. But I've seen these things all over Twitter recently, and it's kind of like a triangular shaped LED panel, if you will, that you connect to your wall. More in the line of like architectural lighting, like something you would do kind of to highlight something, maybe inside of I wouldn't, geez, I'm watching their website, and some of the places they have these things are just completely inappropriate. But I think it's kind of one of those toy things. And if you want to have LED lighting that changes colors with music and that kind of thing, I think it works with HomeKit as well. This looks like a pretty good option. It's got an API, a bunch of other stuff. Let's see, works with HomeKit. I think I saw that it worked with Amazon as well. So check this out. I haven't actually seen these in action, so I can't really exactly say what they do or how well they work. But from what I've seen, like in passing on Twitter and everything, I would check it out. Yeah, it works with Google Assistant, HomeKit, Amazon, if this then that, and it's got a little Android thing. I have no idea what that is for, but I guess maybe there's an Android app or something. So check this out, NanoLeaf Aurora Rhythm. I'm not sure why it's such a strange name, but check it out. Looks like a pretty cool product.
I'm totally mesmerized by their video on their website. It's as if as part of this, I mean, it's really nifty, but it's as if as part of this, they expect you to also be doing some illicit drugs and getting high on acid or something. Because like all these inanimate objects like are moving and dancing with the light and sound, and it's screwing with me while I watch this. But you definitely go look at the site.
Yeah, NanoLeaf wine glasses.
Yeah, nanoleaf.me. It's pretty nifty.
Yeah, it's a cool looking product. I'm a little bit hypnotized here too. I'm gonna have to snap out of it.
Oh yeah, I see it moving now. Huh.
You almost, if you're not watching close.
I think this is, so to bring it back to the integrator angle, what's really neat here is all I could think about is the fact that interior designers, this is something interior designers would totally recommend to their clients for special rooms, and the flexibility that's here is awesome. What you can do, I think this is the kind of thing that integrators could use to reach out to interior designers and say, hey, here's something you guys should look at and consider and keep in mind. And I think that would be pretty neat, like nice little business development opportunity to go and build some new relationships there.
Yeah, I think for the right room, right? Definitely, like it's a very unique looking product, but totally they show it in a bunch of different sort of decors and motifs in different homes, and I think it's neat. I also love the fact that this is sort of becoming like table stakes now, right? These companies come out with these products, and it's like right out of the gate, you've got HomeKit, Alexa, and Google Home, and Seth, you rattle off all the different things, and it's like literally these companies just know now. You come out with a new product, and you sort of have to. Again, it's table stakes, and I think that's to the huge benefit of the consumer, and I can only hope we'll continue to see that.
That's actually a great point. Nowhere does it say it works with iPhone. However, it does work with HomeKit and Alexa.
Yep. So very cool. All right. Well, that's like probably good on specific products. There's a million deals out there. Again, we'll post some other resources we've got here, links to at HomeTech.fm/188. I don't know. We didn't really plan for this. I'll kind of put you guys on the spot. I'm putting myself on the spot, frankly, because I haven't thought through this as well. But maybe we close out here. Joey, the holiday shopping season is upon us. Are there any particular sort of smart home categories that you're looking at for your home, or maybe family members looking at, other than, of course, recommending service plans for all of the listeners out there?
Yeah, you know what I will say? I bought a if anyone here is into grilling and barbecuing, I've recently taken it up on my end. I've got one of those egg type grills, and so I went all out with a temperature regulator for the grill, and so it has this sensor with a fan, and it connects to Wi-Fi, and I've got an app that tracks the temperature. But the best part is I just have to throw in a few coals, and it just maintains the temp at this perfect, within a 10-degree range for the next several hours. So if you know of anybody who's into grilling and barbecuing, between that and the iGrill, after it was bought by Weber, the new iGrill sensors, temperature sensors, and an Insta-Read thermometer. I mean, if you get those three things or any one of those things for a barbecue enthusiast, amazing. Just that's a good one. Transformative.
Yeah, that's solid. Seth, what do you got?
Oh man, I let's see, the HomePod, Apple HomePod. Have you heard of this product? It's supposed to come out any day now. I'm gonna go over here and cry in the corner.
It's you live on Mars and come back late and miss Christmas. That's
right. Well, I think I was looking at some of the Amazon Echoes, just thinking about getting another one of those. We have the original Amazon Echo, the big tube one. Jason, I think you have the same one.
Yep.
I was thinking about getting another one of those. Actually, I did buy one. It'll probably end up being gifted because I got a pretty steep discount on it at one point in time. It's a little dot thing. I don't want to listen to that. So, but now with the Sonos discount on that Sonos One, I'm really looking at one of those. So that might end up in the house as well. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens over the next couple of weeks. If for some reason I hit go on this Amazon shopping cart with the $500 TV that I found, I might end up with a 55-inch TV too. So,
very good. Well, like I said, I've got Amazon Echo on my mind for my parents. I think it's a great gift for the parents, right? It really is a fun and easy thing to just get enjoyment out of, even if you don't use it for anything more than music. I think it's a really a cool product. And so for me, nothing too glamorous. Joey, yours is great. I think cooking is very cool. Mike Wolf, friend of the show, does the spoon.tech, I think is his site, big site now that he's super jazzed on kitchen tech. And I think there's a lot of really cool stuff going on there. I can say for us, smart lighting is definitely something, just some either some Caseta or some Raw2 Select is probably next up on our list, but we'll be looking to get through the probably the gifting to others before we really make investments there. One category of tech gifts that I think this year might be a little bit early just because of the age of my children, but I think I said this last year and I'm just fascinated in it. I think it's so cool is the STEM gifts. So STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And I think there's a lot of really cool toys. If you've got kids at the right age, to sort of get them into that idea of working with their hands and learning how to code and build things, and this whole hardware and software convergence now. And I think I love looking at those toys. And my daughter just turned 3, and so there may be some out there that she might be able to dabble with, and I'm certainly going to look around and see if I can find anything. But definitely as they get older, I love those things, and I think they're great. Really let kids explore and expand their horizons a little bit. And I think from a, not to get too philosophical or big picture, but from a societal perspective, I think the more of our kids who can really get into learning that stuff at a young age and embracing it and finding enjoyment of it is a great thing. So I'm not sure how much of that I'll be doing this year, but it is a category of gifts that I always just have, for the last few years, have been looking at, and I think is really fascinating.
There's I totally agree with that. We actually just signed up. This might be the gift that keeps giving all year long. I just signed up for one of these monthly mail order. We basically sign up for a subscription, and it's a STEM type subscription for projects of a certain age range. You choose what age range your kid is in, and it sends you a box with a project, some sort of STEM type project that you can do with your kid. And so,
remember what it's called?
We're gonna have to post it afterwards.
We'll look it up.
But
we'll put it in the show notes.
My daughter's 5, and our first project was on centrifugal force. And we got to build, it came in a little shoebox type cardboard container, and we got to build our own little wheel it came with paint tubes, and it had and I had my own little circuit board, and we got to move the clips around to change the resistor, to change the speed of the wheel, and then she dripped paint on it. And we got to create, 20 different little pieces of art, and she could play with the different speeds. And it was easy enough for me to do with my 5-year-old, and kept her attention. And, she now knows what centrifugal force is, or at least knows how to say it.
Yeah.
Which is
it's a start.
It's a start at 5.
Awesome. That's great. Well, Joey, I'll have to ask you if you can find that here, and we'll include that in the show notes. I'll mention those one last time at HomeTech.fm/188. Want to thank everybody.
Tinker Crate by Kiwi Co. There you
Tinker
go.
Crate.
Sorry.
Awesome. No, that's great. We will we'll include that in the show notes. Want to thank everybody for tuning in. We really appreciate it. I know this show will air the day after Thanksgiving, so when you're listening to it, hope you had a great Thanksgiving. So we're sitting here, of course, earlier in the week and looking forward to the holiday ourselves. And this was fun, Joey. I'm glad you were able to join us. Thanks so much for taking the time.
This is great. Thanks, guys.
You got it. Seth, want to thank everybody once again, all of our supporters. If you're interested in learning more about that, URL is HomeTech.fm/support. Once again, that's HomeTech.fm/support. And Seth, from me to you, have a great Thanksgiving, and I hope the best for you and your family.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks very much. And back at you. And to everyone listening as well, have a great Thanksgiving, except for Greg, who is in Canada. And I guess Thanksgiving was last week or something, last month. I don't know.
I know that. I learned something new tonight. So
yeah, they get it all mixed up once you cross the border for some reason. But happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And we'll talk to you next week.
All right. Sounds good. Take care, Seth.